Hey everyone, Aussie Viking here to do another video. So recently, on Saturday, and today is Monday as I record this, I went to Gamaraka Medieval Fair, which is an Australian medieval fair. Few little dragon things there, not too swifty, not too bad at all. And this is my first time going. It's been going on for like 13 years, and all of a sudden I thought to myself, you know what, let's do it. Plus, all my comic book stores kind of like, because it's on like Free Comic Book Day, all my comic book stores kind of gone now in Adelaide, so I'm like, we'll just go here. So I decided to go, and I bought a few things, and I enjoyed myself. So first up, it was fantastic. I love learning all these different things about how people at the time lived. Some parts I knew, some I didn't, and it was awesome. To be able to talk to people that like what you like is just amazing. Everybody was dressed up, we had sword fighting, and you had everything. You could buy anything you wanted, which was fairly cheap. And honestly, overall it came together pretty damn well. Now, you're probably wondering, what did I buy? Well, I told myself, no swords. I've already got swords, at least until I get somewhere place bigger. No swords. Even though it was very tempting to get some swords, but no swords. I did, however, buy a Millennium Falcon beeswax. And you're probably thinking, why did you get beeswax? Well, hang on, let's just get enough of this if you can see that. I got beeswax because I wanted to use it on this. So I bought this from Grimfrost. And what's good is, what you do is you get it, and you put the beeswax on there, whether or not you melt it or not. I hear that you can melt it, or you melt a bit of it and you get a cloth and you buffer it in, and it helps keep it more together, more moist. And it can also be used on bronze, such as my bronze swords I have. So I thought to myself, I'm going to use that because I really wanted to really bring sort of this stuff together. I actually brought that with me, and I bought a big jug of beer. I've actually got the jug too, and I filled this up with I filled this while there, and while I'm there in the 18 plus area, I'm just like drinking down the beer, and it felt right, you know. It felt like how it should be, and it really made me really love this beautiful drinking utensil a lot more, because I always knew this was actually worth buying, and it was. Honestly, it was fantastic. So that was one thing I bought. Next up I bought, which is rather interesting, is, well, this is one of them. A cloak. And it is awesome. So it's extremely blue, as you can tell. And even though we're getting into winter in Australia, this is actually quite nice. I even wore it to bed once. It's full on wool. It feels great and comfortable and very warm. And it wasn't too much money. It was like $100, which is honestly not bad, because in Australia you can get a whole lot of wool for like $80, and it's like for an extra 25. You got a very nice, a very warm, very well made cloak, and it feels great. Yeah, can you see any of that? I don't know if you can see that, but I can do a little cutaway where it's, well, shows you all of that, as you'll see now. But hey, it's really nice, it's really good. It's in blue, my favorite color, so I love it. But I also bought, this wasn't the only medieval wear that I bought. I also bought this, which is this, a Viking tunic, as you can hopefully see. It's not bad, a bit creased of course, but this feels quite nice. Not as big as I thought it would be, but this was honestly $30, and it was down from 70, I believe it was. So I was like, for $30, that's cheaper than most metal t-shirts, or even any t-shirt, really. And I thought, with winter and stuff, this is quite warm to do, and it's really nice to have. I've also got one coming from Grimfrost, which is blue, and it'll be really interesting to kind of compare, because this is where things get interesting. So, while there, I bought another drinking horn right now. This is the one that I bought there. It was like $20, or $15 actually. Right? Quite good, quite nice inside, drinkable and such like that. Quite well made. And this is one I got from Grimfrost, which I thought was rather interesting. So this is the Grimfrost one I got. As you can tell, there's obviously a difference, but there's also the difference in between how they do it. The fact that they're also thickness, and this was the thickest one there in terms of that area. This one is the thickest one usually they bring, and it's just, there is a quality change, you know. I think, obviously, if you want to get high-end quality products, you'd have to pay a bit extra, and this one feels like it's a good one. This is still great. Like, this is still a drinkable drinking horn, and it is real horn, and it works well. And that's the thing. They had a lot of good stuff there, but it all felt too. At times, it felt like everyone was just there to sell, sell, sell. You didn't really feel like you got that. And there were people there that did handcrafted stuff, but this sort of thing is very handcrafted, and you can kind of tell. You can tell the difference between something that's handcrafted to make sure that you get a great product and a good product, but there's a difference. And I'm also talking about other things as well, such as the swords. Some swords, although a lot of swords were great, you couldn't help but feel like maybe they were a bit out there. And among many other things. But it was just interesting how... Of course, this will come together later on when I get my tunic from Grimfrost, which should be here hopefully tomorrow, so I can actually kind of compare. But there's also some good stuff. The cloak, for example, that is beautiful. It is great, and I love it. But obviously, it costed a higher end product to get because it actually worked pretty well, if that makes sense. I know I'm kind of babbling here, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything that I bought from there, and that I can actually come back and use. So... what else did I love about it? Well, I loved everything, really. I loved the people, everybody dressing up. I loved how you didn't feel alone. I loved how everybody felt like it was there. There's that purpose there. Like, they had sword fighting, like we said before, but they had, like, the cooks, you know, they had the old-fashioned cooks, people making stews on the fire, burning, and then you had people with the spit, and, you know, cutting the leather and doing all this leathery stuff. It was just great. It was great to see all this beautiful stuff. They even had a Viking boat there. A Viking boat. How good is that? I had a great time. And I really wish that I could have gone back the next day. It's just I had work and other stuff to do. And I spent too much money there. I did. Okay, look, if you go to a place like that and you love that sort of stuff, you will spend your money. But it was worth it, you know. Absolutely worth it. And I implore everybody that's never been to a medieval fair, go to a medieval fair. It's one way to bring it all in. Sneeze all over it. But go to a medieval fair. Absolutely. There is nothing wrong with it. It is great. You can tell from the photos. There's a great crowd mentality there. A lot of interesting people. It's not all realistic medieval stuff. There are people that dress up as elves, for example, and wizards. And it's great. There was a guy there who's dressed up as a wizard going all like, look what I can do. And obviously you'll see a photo of that. And it's a good place to go in Australia, in South Australia, when it's on every year. Even if you go and do basically any country that does this sort of stuff, it's a great place to go. Go with your family, go there, enjoy yourself, buy a few things, enjoy yourself, do something different, okay? Because that's what these sort of medieval fairs are. To go and do something different in your life and in someone else's life, but also to learn new things. I love learning how hard it is to clean a sword, or how hard it is to make sure things like the leather drink bottles, how it's great to get... beeswax, and you buff it in and you do this, you do that. It's great because you really need to get out there and keep things alive while you do other things. And it's just great that you can kind of go back to that mentality of you got to be independent with what you do, and I loved it. But and I got to finish off with something that I really love. So there's a lot of things I wanted to buy. I didn't. I was thinking about buying this big Viking horn, but I figured next time, you know, if there's next time there's a medieval fair, I'll get a bigger one, because I do have a few Grimfrost horns that I drink out of. But there was one thing I saw that I needed to buy. And well, I love it. Let me show you.
So, as you can see, I bought myself a Viking shield. A very big and beautiful Viking shield. A very heavy, big, beautiful, battle-ready Viking shield. And I love it. And you know what? Going outside, having this swung up, ready to roll, and my sword in the other hand, it felt glorious. And you know what? It's just great to live the part of your ancestors and kind of your own perspective on life itself. It's just fun. You just go for it. And that's kind of it. I had a great time. I had a good drink. It was with a lot of people. Met a lot of friends there. Made a few new friends. I bought a lot of great things, as you can tell. And I just enjoyed myself, you know? So from me to you, have a good one. Let's go. is Aussie Viking, still in Valhalla.